This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
Hey everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. Yeah, we're rolling to almost the midway start of April, which means we're almost into May, which means testing for anyone that you have in your life that's taking schools and summer and all of that comes to it. So we thought we'd take this segment, talk about the Lafourche Parish schools, and nobody better to do that with than the Superintendent of Education, Mr. Jared Martins. Jared, thanks so much for being with us, man.
Absolutely.
We're talking like this is the end of school year, right?
I know. So when you start on August 5th, the end comes soon.
I know. Still, to me, it ought to be Labor Day and Memorial Day, and get what you can in between there.
Agreed. But instead, we start at the hottest part of the year, and we suffer through it. But here we are on the eve of the testing season.
Yeah, and I do understand that. I know daycare issues and two working families and all that kind of stuff. We're not like just a mom at home sending their kids off to school.
Yeah.
So, no, great. So let's update the school year. How was the school year for Lafourche Parish? I know you got some big scores there in the middle when they were saying, hey, we've improved more than anybody has as far as the COVID and doing those kind of things. You were in the top 10, I think, in that score and different things like that. So how was the school year overall?
It's a fantastic school year. Again, very proud to be one of the few school districts across the nation that it's at pre-IDA testing levels, and now we're getting into that testing season. Yes, pre-IDA. So it's all I think about, right? All I think about is IDA. Pre-COVID testing levels from across the nation, and now we're going to get it into that testing season again, and we'll see how we fare, but we feel very good about where we are. Again, what's new to us this year and new to Louisiana is that our third graders will be taking the DIBELS screener, which is a literacy test. And any third grader that does not have a good cause exemption and scores well below, there's 5 categories that one can score on this DIBELS screener. New state law is that these kids are going to have to repeat the third grade. So that is going to have huge implications for some of our most struggling third grade students and for families of third graders. We have sent a lot of literature home about this. We've communicated it out to families, but we know how important that's going to be for those third graders.
Sure, and it is one of those things. If you don't learn it then, quick aside, if you learn another language, right?
Yes.
If you learn it before puberty, you don't have you lose the accent with your new.
That's correct.
Your new language. If you learn the language after puberty, you always have an accent of your original language.
100%.
Which I'm sure, brain-wise, is where you got to catch somebody before they go into puberty, learning how to do vocabulary, doing phonics, those kind of things, and that's what you're trying to catch. Right?
It's 2 things. One, you hit on something that's really important to understand. Neurologically, we are more poised to be able to learn a new language in our youth. 2, we transition from teaching kids how to read to reading to learn, right? So you're learning to read and then you're reading to learn. And so if we continue to allow students that haven't yet learned how to read well to transition beyond the grades where we explicitly teach reading and how to read, then it's a deficit that sometimes never gets made up.
Never catch it.
And that's why the state has transitioned to this. Mississippi actually did it a few years ago and has seen tremendous growth and increased reading scores as a byproduct of not only this, but some other changes in the curriculum. But that is why Louisiana shifted to this, and we are both excited for what it's going to mean in terms of catching kids up and increasing their reading scores, but at the same time, nervous if this means that kids have to repeat the third grade, because we need to do a better job making sure that they are able to navigate that test when it comes.
And it's the first time?
This is the first time, not that we do the DIBELS screener, but that it would cause a kid to fail or repeat the third grade.
Do we still do that with LEAP in 4th grade?
We do not. So that has long since, it's been many years. No, it's a good question because a lot of folks probably think, right? Remember the 4th and the 8th grade used to be years that if you didn't navigate it, that practice has slowly been taken away.
Okay, and not to dig too deep in this, but y'all going back to more phonics based as far as DIBELS?
You are absolutely correct. So the science of reading is now infused into our K through 3 reading classrooms, and we have returned, thankfully, a very good decision to a phonics-based reading instruction.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great updates to know. It's been a while since I've had kids in the
Yeah,
fourth or
yeah,
eighth
for
grade.
sure.
Okay. How about closing the school year? Did you get all the, I mean, we're still under construction in a lot of places.
course.
Sure. So tell me where we're at with all that.
Man, the same two schools that I talk about every time we're here, right? So Bayou Buff and Golden Meadow Middle School. Thankfully, demolition on both sites has begun, so we're finally turning the page on getting these schools rebuilt.
dirt, too.
That's right. That's right. But we're excited that construction is beginning on those sites, and we're excited to have probably 95% of the work that needs to be done recovering from Ida done.
Okay. You had a study done about salaries.
Yes.
Right? And a big study.
Yeah. So we partnered with a company called Lean Frog, and I'm really excited about what this is going to mean for our staff and employees. But at the end of the day, what this company did, analyzed our salaries, analyzed how much money we have available in our budget, and we're excited. We don't know the number yet, but we're experiencing an opportunity where we expect to have a substantial increase for our teachers, right? So maybe as much as hopefully $3,000 per year for our instructional staff, and a more detailed look at all of our positions to pay our folks a more competitive salary. So we're excited about that work, and we're excited for next school year.
Great. And great for those teachers too. So I know who could have done that study for you. We've got 3 people coming up on the next segment that were perfect, right?
Yeah, yeah. And one of them, in fact, wants to be a mathematician and study actuarial. So, yeah, they absolutely could have figured this out for us.
Yeah. Perfect ACT scores. We'll talk to them when we come back right here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by A.J. Doman Chevrolet. We say yes when others say no.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. As promised in the previous segment, when we were talking to Superintendent Jared Martin, 3 people scored perfect on their ACT in Lafourche Parish, and they're here to talk about it. We have Nathan Dean, who's from South Lafourche High School, Brylan Parkhills from Central Lafourche, and Drew Como, South Lafourche. So, guys, thanks so much for being with us. And I'm going to ask you, I think, some of the things we just talked about. But what does it feel like to get a perfect paper when you walk into an ACT shop?
It's really kind of surreal to know that taking the test again wouldn't result in a higher score. But it's also kind of weird because even though it's technically a perfect score, there's still so much to do in terms of academics, like getting accepted into your dream college and stuff like that. So even though it's like being at the top, there's still so much to do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And in the break, you guys shared with me, you were all hoping to get into MIT, which would be awesome to have a bunch of Cajuns up there in Boston doing some math for those guys. But so, Brylan, we talked about it. Now, do you also need to take the SAT when you're trying to get in a place like MIT?
Yeah, they do tend to look at SATs as well. I don't know exactly what score they look at for, most likely above 1,500 or so. But they do look at ACT scores, SAT scores, as well as any extracurricular activities you do, any programs you've been in, leadership roles you've held. Basically just what you've done so far in your high school career and what you've done to get here.
Yeah, and MIT, I know they're into robotics now. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's probably interesting for you guys down the road. And it's funny, I guess you guys, all 3 math guys, left brain, right brain. But if you want to go to MIT, I would think that's a math score, right?
Right.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Drew, let me ask you about that. So what's your fascination with math, and do you like to go online and challenge yourself? I know there's chat rooms where you do problems and people from all over the country try to solve them. Is that something that's fun for you?
Well, number one resource for any people that are math brain or people just wanting to learn math, at least according to me, is Khan Academy. And
Oh, I got you.
I love going on Khan Academy and just seeing what is there. And my brother is currently at LSU, and he's constantly telling me about what he's doing in his math class. Like, he's showing me derivatives, integrals. I don't understand them, but it's just
Good story.
explaining.
Yeah. So I've always thought this with math kids, that sometimes y'all always seem like you already know it. Did you feel that way when you look at a problem on the Khan Academy, or is it something you do need to learn as you go?
Definitely not. It's definitely something that you need to have explained to you, and even then, once it's explained to you, if it's not explained if a certain way, it's really tough. But once it clicks, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, Nathan, again, South Lafourche, and do you spend a lot of time like the Khan Academy, or are your classes, your AP classes, enough to, to challenge you?
I think the classes are probably enough to challenge me. And also the thing is that down here we don't really have as much AP classes as we have like dual enrollment through like Nichols, for example. But we don't like get AP credit. So if we want to like further that, we just have to take dual enrollments and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. And Brylan, so what do you do to stimulate your interest in those kind of things as well?
So I'm actually team captain of the Fletcher Robotics community team.
Nice.
So I spent a lot of time there just building, programming, trying to learn new things. I didn't pick up programming until little over a year ago, and so that's really been something to just help stimulate my mind and just want me to push further, even in other subjects. And so I feel like that's also a big part of what's helped me push up to this 36 score.
Yeah, so at Fletcher, do y'all compete against other teams? I see Denham Springs has a real good math team that does the robotics, and they're going to compete nationally. I'd read about that. Have y'all been in those same kind of challenges?
Yes, so it's under First Robotics, and they do have competitions. They just recently had one last weekend that I went and visit. We did not compete at that one. We're competing at another one over the summer, and that's called the North Shore Knockout that we'll be attempting to compete in. But it's global competition where everyone from all over the world has this exact same challenge, and they have to come up with a design to complete whatever task they're given.
Yeah, that's so cool when you see that. Drew, same way, you got interest in robotics like that? And so if you do get to Boston, you got Boston Dynamics that's right there, and a lot of the stuff that's really happening in that space is up in that Boston area.
Right. Actually, fun fact, this semester was the first year of SLHS robotics. Shameless little plug here, but I'm currently vice president of SLHS robotics, and hopefully next year we're doing the fundraising to start competing at competitions like Brylan mentioned. So
yeah, that's a fun fact. That's awesome, and you guys can leave a little legacy, right? When you leave the Bayou a little bit, so that would be awesome. So Nathan, again, what do you do your senior year? How do you prep as you're getting ready to go?
Well, in terms of prep, something colleges might look for is like any leadership roles you have in the community. So you could try to reach out through stuff like National Honor Society, stuff like that, in order to get more leadership roles, show that you're involved in the community and stuff like that. Or you might want to retake ACT if your scores aren't where you want, because in your senior year, you still have a lot of time to take ACT scores, get your scores up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Well, guys, congratulations. Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for coming by. I hope you're proud of yourself. It's a spectacular event. And yeah, just keep going, man, in your senior year. And let's get a plus. Get a 36 plus. Thanks so much, guys. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.